On today's EMJ podcast, me and Ben review all the action from the Players Championship in Ponte Vedra, Florida, where Cam Young picks up the victory, and I predicted it. Yes, I predicted it, and I'm quick to remind Ben of that. We also review Richard T. Lee's blunder on Live Golf, as well as preview the Valspar Championship, which is upcoming on the PGA Tour. As always, this podcast does contain explicit language, but we hope you enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome back to the EMJ PGA podcast. This is episode 14. We are back for another week, a fresh Tuesday morning for you guys listening. Thank you so much to all of you who are listening and watching, particularly because last episode, I'm really pleased to report back that we did a record number of views. You might have seen that on social media. Unbelievable to see how many of you were interacting with the podcast. It's a fantastic feeling to be able to create something. Me and Ben had an idea coming up to a year ago now when we first did our sort of Masters live previews and reviews. We had the sort of idea to create this podcast. We've created it, and then to see you guys interacting with it is a fantastic feeling, to say the least. So thank you to everybody who listened and watched. And if you are a new listener and watcher, please stick with us. Because both our weekly podcasts are great, the Tuesday one and the Thursday one, but when we're able to report back about the golf, when we've watched the golf, and in particular a big golf tournament, this is usually when some interesting bits of content come out of it, and we definitely enjoy recording this early week podcast. Thank you, of course, to Whitty for coming on last episode as well. He was absolutely fantastic, and his audience was a massive help for us guys, so no, massive thanks to him once again. Since last podcast, since me and Ben recorded, we actually got out onto the course and played a little bit on Saturday evening. Benjamin Hartstone, welcome back to the podcast. How was? Give us a review of your golfing performance on Saturday as we shared a few holes together.
We did share a few holes on the course together. I enjoyed it. I thought everyone played pretty well. The three of us playing, well, the 3.5 playing, I'd count it as. But yeah, I thought I had some good shots. I'm actually pretty happy with like the way I've struck it. Having not played pretty much like a handful of times in 6 months, so I had some good shots, had some bad shots. I thought you and our other playing partner hit some good shots as well, and it was very nice up there. It was a bit cold, but yeah, actually enjoyed it, and we're starting to come into the thick of it over the next few months now. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, I can't tell you. So I played. I think I told you, but I had like I went to work on Saturday morning. I came on the way to work on Saturday morning. I put on an interview with Rory McIlroy, obviously my guy Rory, and he was just getting me in the mood for playing golf. I was like, I don't know when the next time I'm going to be able to get to play was, and then we were driving to the pub, or I was literally about to get to the pub after you lads have played football, and I had the interview still on, and I was oh my god, like I'm looking forward to the pub, but I love some holes right now.
Yeah.
And then the call comes. We're hitting the golf club, come up, and I'm like, oh my god, this is Christmas. Christmas has come here now, so keen for it. The weather was fantastic, and yeah, we all played solidly, didn't we? We all had a good knockabout. Even Jimmy who joined us, he got out and hit some good shots, in my opinion. Which he's going to be our fourth playing partner definitely over the next few months. We'll continue to cook. We'll continue to cook with Jimmy. So fair play for getting out there and up there. Golf on the weekend. What a golf tournament! Like I feel like I've been missing that. I've been missing a proper golf tournament like that for some time. Obviously, I know you can be mega critical of these golf tournaments when you might see a lesser known player working. Obviously, players have always got to start lesser known. They've got to start somewhere. Your Bridgmans. I know you like Battier, but Battier and Berger, they're not maybe the world's top 10 names in there. And not that we had an absolute influx, but I just felt like it was a fantastic golf tournament on Sunday. Ben, your reaction to it?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched quite a lot of it. I watched a fair bit Friday night. I watched a fair bit Saturday. I watched Till Aberg's final hole on Saturday night as well, thinking about it now. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a brilliant mix of some amazing golf, especially early in the week. and it sort of tailed off to so many mistakes, as we'll probably talk about going into Sunday. There was all sorts going on. It ebbed and flowed. Different players sort of reached the peak of the leaderboard and dropped off. We had some awful golf, especially in the final group. We had some great golf coming in that second to last group, with who was with Youngs and Fitzpatrick. So yeah, actually very enjoyable. Nice to see big names up there. Like, I'm one of the snobs of sport that I don't like to see lesser known players or teams in any sport do well. Like, I want to see the big, and I get some play. You've got to get to that point to be a big boy, but I want to see the big boys doing well because that's what I'm used to and that's what I see entertainment as. And that's what we saw at the Players.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I think I predicted. Well, we'll come on to my predictions in just a moment, okay? But I could sort of see that there was going to be maybe I was sort of predicting maybe someone like I put Ricky Fowler in my honourable mentions. Obviously, he didn't turn out to work for me, that particular prediction. But I mean, I was kind of used to those lesser known names sort of popping up and maybe poking their head out in tournaments where you might think that they might not do. And we'll obviously come on to a good few players that were in the mix there. A couple of them tried, and they couldn't quite get it done. But my overall prediction was correct. Benjamin Hartshorn is 1-0 me. It's 1-0 me on
Yeah.
correct predictions. How are you feeling that it's 1-0 me? Because I plucked out Cam Young. I just had a feeling, and when I said it, do you know what? I looked back at me saying it and I thought, that's just me saying it. Like, I didn't really think much into it. But when I made the pick, it was as good as I'd felt about a pick. Probably since we'd started doing this podcast, to be honest with you. I'm so pumped. And do you know what? I didn't get a chance to watch much golf other than Sunday, but I looked at the leaderboard after 2 days, and we'll come on to Cam Young in just a moment in depth. But I looked at the leaderboard after 2 rounds, and I saw him there, and he was four back, I want to say, which is pretty much exactly where he was going into Sunday. And I thought that's a start of 4 under, 5 under. Those are two really, really solid rounds of golf. It's not like a 7 under level par. It's not one where you feel like you're going like that. It was like I've watched a lot of horse racing the last week since we've recorded the last one. If Cam Young was a horse, he's just tracking. He's not he's not on the bridle, we call it. No, he's not being ridden, as we call it. He's on the bridle. He's traveling smoothly. And I thought, do you know what? We've got a really good chance going into this. Even Sunday, I thought we've got a really good chance coming into this, and it ended up being the case. Cam Young moves to world number 4 with the win, picks up $4.5 million for his reward. I mean, you never get much emotion out of old Cameron, but I'm sure might crack a smile when he opens his bank account this morning. And he was seventh, third, and win his last 3 starts. He is a man in form. What do you reckon to Cam Young's performance, Benjamin Harsman?
Cam Young, yeah, very impressive. I forgot you actually picked him until like this morning when you kept going on about him. And I thought, oh shit, yeah. So I'll give you plaudits. It's very good. I've come close for about 5 weeks in a row, and you've pulled a good one out. Cam Young is unbelievably solid, and why he's so boring is probably why he's so good. A bit like Sheffield, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He was excellent at the Ryder Cup. He's been so good this year. He should have won before now. I mean, it's 2022 when he nearly pipped Cameron Smith to the Open. So he's been lurking for a while now, and it's good to see him doing well. He's such a good swing, as you'll probably speak about. Such a solid player. His shot on 17 was brilliant. His putt on 17 was amazing. He then hit the biggest drive of the week down 18. When everyone was going right, everyone was messing 18 up. It was such a hard hole. It was actually that back nine on Sunday was so hard yesterday with the wind. So fair play to Cam Young. He played the highest level, the most solid golf out there. Didn't make a mistake in the back nine, and that's sort of got him the victory in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, massively agree. Massively agree. I don't know what to do first, whether to just quickly analyze what makes his swing so good. I mean, he has, again, how
Mm.
many times have I said this player's got one of my 3 favorite swings in the world? Like, we obviously had a couple of them in contention, but Cam Young does. Cam Young does 100%. I've always been on about Cam Young's golf swing. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. We'll come on to his swing in just a moment, but as you just rightly said, the players, and I fell back in love with the players this weekend. A couple of years ago, I was actually listening to the Sky Sports Golf podcast, which if you do listen to both, listen to us first, guys. Then go
Mm.
to Sky Sports. We're going to give you the in-depth analysis, okay? And they're probably going to do that too, but we're going to do it our way. All right, not the better way, but we're going to do it our way. So listen to us first, okay? But I was listening to the Sky Sports golf podcast a couple of years ago, and it was after the players, and I thought they were rightly talking about the fact that the players just didn't really have much identity, didn't really have much oomph about it. Everyone goes on about it being this massive event and the flagship event on the PGA Tour, but something just felt a little bit, it just felt a little bit flat. And sometimes you need the stars, you need the actors to play their role for it to be a great golf tournament, and they did do that. Obviously, the drama, the wind getting up on the back nine on Sunday made it really, really interesting. But there were so many players in the mix, which probably made it the spectacle and the great golf tournament that it was. However, you just mentioned the shot on 17. The 17th is there for drama. It's there for dramatic purposes. And I just kind of, this is kind of my sort of point when it comes to the 12th at Augusta, is that when we just hit it over the middle bunker every single time, when you just hit it to the crest right in the middle of the green every single time when you're in contention or you're nervous a little bit, that's obviously what you should do. That's obviously what you should do. But a situation like that, it just takes me back. That's my favourite player's moment was Ricky Fowler just absolutely dialing one in to 17 and attacking that flag, which looks ridiculous on TV, which always makes it look a little bit more of a narrow target, the TV, I think. But that is what the players is all about. Drama on 17 and 18 for that fact. And Cam Young gave us that with just the unbelievable golf shot. And then, as you said, to follow it in with the putt, absolutely fantastic.
Mm.
Just taking you through the story of Cam Young's day. Obviously, he makes a birdie on one, which gets him off to a great start. And we're going to come on to sort of the mentality of how to win a golf tournament. Where would you rather be? Would you rather be the hunter or the hunted? Because obviously Cam Young was the hunter, but he didn't really know that until what, the 11th, 12th hole, I'm pretty sure, 13th hole, I'm pretty sure. So he started off well. He put himself in a good position. I thought big moments. He made a good birdie on 7, really, really good approach shot into there. And the approach shot into 13 was unbelievable. The par 3 13th, fantastic. Following in Fitzpatrick, who became pretty much his rival for the tournament, which I thought was fantastic. And then a massive moment on 14 where Fitzpatrick three putts and Young makes par. I thought that was a really, really good moment, good up and down from Cam Young there. And even the discipline on 16, he was plugged in the bunker. We saw what Bob McIntyre did from the left side of 16 earlier on, literally just one hole before him. And you're looking at him in that bunker and you're thinking, oh my God, anything could happen here. But the discipline to play that shot out of the bunker just to the front, fantastic. And as you said, the grandstand finish, just some stats about that 18th. We talked about 17, absolutely unbelievable. But 18th tee shot was the furthest ever shot recorded on the 18th hole
Mm.
since basically ball flight tracking was even a thing or properly monitored by ShotLink in 2003. 375 yards on the 18th hole. I know it's slightly downwind, but that thing was absolutely piped. And just a couple of things in there. We spoke about Akshay Bhatia last week when it comes to being a lefty on those final few holes at Bay Hill. Cam Young playing the draw suited him a little bit better. Even his bailout on 16, obviously, he was going to flip it over a little bit on 16. And he was never going to find massive trouble. You obviously didn't want to go in the water, so that helped him a bit there. And then on 18, you could say, oh, well, his miss might have been in the water, but downwind helping him. He could start it at those trees and then just basically commit to his own shot shape instead of faders, which 80% of the PGA Tour are. They've got to aim at that water and they're going to bail out every single time into those trees. You saw Fitzpatrick do it a little bit. I know he's not a fader with the ball naturally, but you saw that happen and you see it happen quite a lot. So for Young to step up onto 16, the approach into 16, albeit not a great shot, and the tee shot on 18, comfortable with his ball flight and just basically committed to making a good swing. I thought that was a massive factor in it. Unbelievable from Cam Young. And just whilst we're on it, because again you mentioned a couple of bits about Cam Young, I will just stop blabbering on in a moment. But just going on, what do I like about Cam Young's swing? What do I like about Cam Young's swing? Well, there's a lot, so I'm just going to simplify it down to one thing. Okay, for most amateurs, all right, that fade the golf ball and they struggle losing the ball to the right side for right-handers, or they struggle with cutting the golf ball, it's upper body first in transition. Okay, so the pause at the top is why he built in that pause. It's almost like a training aid drill. He gets to the top, obviously his position at the top is unbelievable. Wrist angles, keeping the club on plane at the top, just absolutely perfect. But he pauses at the top to let his lower body fire first and his upper body fire second, and that really helps keeps his arms, in particular his right elbow. If you watch that transition, his right elbow just gets pulled down by gravity to start his downswing, which is absolutely unbelievable. And like his divot patterns as well, like when he's hitting little pitch shots, his divot patterns 2-3 degrees into out every single time, every single time. Just gorgeous to watch. Everybody loves to see a draw of the golf ball, in my opinion. I know the cut has become back in fashion, and I love people who play a cut. I think it's a consistent shot. But there's nothing like watching someone hit just a bomb draw. And that shot on 18 was just disgusting. And I always remember I went to last time I went to the Open at Troon. I stood on the back of 17, and he wasn't really anywhere near in contention. It was absolutely pissing it down with rain, blowing a gale, everything. I stood behind him on 17, which is a long par three at Troon, and he hit this shot. It didn't get 30 feet off the ground. It carried about 200 yards. Would have been a 5 iron or 4 iron or something like that. And I thought, oh my God. Like when you go and watch the golf, and you can probably attest to this, Ben, okay? You you
Mm.
might be able to attest to this. Sometimes you watch players and you go, that's not really that special. Like I've played with players before that hit the ball similarly to that, big hitters maybe when they stripe a golf shot and it looks similar to that. You sometimes set your expectations too high of these tour pros, but Cam Young's not one of those. Like you stand behind Cam Young sometimes, that pause at the top and how good it looks as well. Um, he's one of those players where you go, "Ooh, that comes off the face differently to anybody that I've seen really relative to who I play with on a weekly basis." So there is my monologue about Cam Young. Absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad to see him get a win. And I'm glad to see my prediction be right
Mm.
as well. Matt Fitzpatrick, close second. Were you rooting on Matt Fitzpatrick down the stretch?
I don't know if I'm rooting for anyone really. I mean, Fitzpatrick just looks like such a dweeb. I do like Fitzpatrick, but I just can't handle the way he looks. So I wasn't really. I was more looking down at Brooks, see if he could post like 10 under, and then he made a double on the last. So I was fucking fuming about that. And then that was about it. Yeah, probably Fitzpatrick over Cam Young, but Cam Young looks way better than Fitzpatrick. Fucking hell. So I was actually quite pleasantly pleased about it. But yeah, obviously I want Fitzpatrick to win, but I'm not very like. I don't care if like the English guys don't win. I'm not gay. I shouldn't say that. I'm not fucking like that at all. I'd rather see like good players win, and if Brooks or Tiger are playing, I want them to win wherever or who against whoever. So
Yeah. We're working with Ben here with his Brooks and Tiger Brigade, like, and the fact that Brooks was up there. We will touch on Brooks because I'll give you a
I'd
chance
like
to
to
speak
touch
about
on
Brooks and
Brooks.
review his weekend. Yeah. I'll give you the floor with Brooks in just a moment. But yeah, Fitzpatrick. I mean, again, it was one of those. I'm patriotic. I'd like to think, I like seeing the Europeans maybe grab a win over the Americans. But I've always been a bit of a Cam Young fan. Even when Cam Young got
Mm,
on a heater in the Ryder Cup, I was kind of like, I don't really mind that. To be fair, he's one of my favorite American players. So him against Fitzpatrick, it was one of those again. The golf coach in me probably is leaning towards Cam Young in that situation. Obviously, I picked him. Matt Fitzpatrick's swing incredibly efficient because why he's one of the best players in the world. But again, you wouldn't see many people maybe trying to replicate that move. So again, the swing nerd in me is maybe leaning towards Cam Young, but it would have been interesting. It would have been interesting. And a brief moment, birdie on 15, I thought it was gonna be Fitzpatrick's for the taking. Um, but it wasn't the case for him. Three putt on 14. That was the doing. And I'm always surprised, by the way, because everyone was hammering that part on 14. Everyone was leaving it at the front of 14, and
mm,
everyone just kept hammering it past. And I thought this on Cam Young's pot on 18 to actually win the tournament, the first one. Like, why does nobody get like? Why do they not have a member of their team? I wonder if this is allowed. Actually, I should probably know this. But like,
mm,
why has nobody in their team like got in his ear and said, by the way, Matt, everyone's been nailing this putt almost off the green at the back, so it's probably just a bit quicker than you probably think. And he goes and nails it anyway. Like the commentary were going, yeah, this is everyone's been hitting this pass, and then he goes and knocks it off the green. So it was unfortunate for Matt Fitzpatrick there, but
mm,
that was probably the doing of him. Other contenders, Xander Schauffele, didn't even notice he was in the tournament until he was in the clubhouse lead. Got on a heater the last four holes, 3 under for the last four. Xander Schauffele. Um, Good performance from him. And Bob McIntyre got on the heater, but he was the opposite. He got on the heater early and ended up on the cooler. And like, how frustrating is it, Ben, when you're on the heater and you find the cooler?
Yeah, heater than the cooler. It is the sort of the sin of golf, and they often come hand in hand. Very rarely you hit cooler than a heater after 'em, that it can happen, but it's often a heater than a cooler. And he managed to hit the cooler. It wasn't the biggest cooler of all time, but two bogeys
No.
in the last five, it was a cooler to lose a tournament. And like his chip on 16 was obviously, if you watched it, was a big risk. If he went left on 16, which they all did with their second, to bail out, and he should have probably chipped out 10 yards in front of him out the rough, and then gave himself a chance for par. And he went for the spectacle shot and hit it in the water. So it's, I respect him for taking the risk to try and win the tournament, and it didn't pay off. But you know what, he still made 6 birdies on a tough Sunday. And, I'm not going to be that critical of McIntyre, because he does absolutely go for
No.
it on a Sunday. So fair play to him.
Yeah, Bob McIntyre again. I always feel bad for him. Obviously, he ended up winning the Scottish Open the year after, but I always feel bad for him that year when McIlroy did him at the
Yeah.
Scottish Open. Like, the shots that he was hitting, like towards the end of that round of golf in the win there, was absolutely ridiculous, and he ended up just getting done on the day by even some more ridiculous stuff, which
Yeah.
was pretty crazy. But like McIntyre, one of those players where it just always. I know he has actually won a couple of times, Canadian Open, Scottish Open, but yeah, you look at him getting on it and you just go, I just don't see a world where McIntyre gets in. And even if he gets in a playoff, I don't see a world in
You
which
know,
he seals the deal here and the job done.
I sort of agree with you, McIntyre, but then I also think, out of all the European boys, like, I do back him to go on a heater
Yeah.
on a Sunday. But then I sort of agree with you that, like, you don't see him actually winning it. He sort of seemed, he did this at the US Open, didn't he, at Oakmont? I think he did the exact same thing, and it was a moment where you're like, McIntyre might win this, and then like something came, and I just, the other European boys don't have the route, maybe the risk he has on a Sunday. Um, but yeah, no, I totally agree with you. He's strange on McIntyre, because he's very good. God, he's very good.
I think it was through 11 holes, and he actually got to 11 under through his
Yeah.
11 holes, and through that point, like it's so difficult because in hindsight, you look back at his round of golf, and what would he have posted? He would have posted something like 7 under, 6 under, 5 under, somewhere between there, and
Yeah.
you look back at his round of golf and you go, actually, to give yourself a fantastic paycheck and finish solo fourth, that's a fantastic round, but then he'll we're always critical of ourselves, aren't we? And
Mm.
sometimes you go, well, I can understand because you stood there, you got 7 holes to play, and you're only 2 shots off the eventual playoff and clubhouse lead. What would have been the score that Young posted, and you go, I've got 7 holes to play. I'm in really good form. I know I've got 14 coming up, and then the final stretch, which is a thing in itself. But you've
Mm.
got your 16th, even though it's a par five. You've got your short par four 15th. There are chances there for you to go and do it, and it's difficult. You've got to birdie every
Oh,
hole on a very tough golf course in the wind. But yeah, no, it's he'll look back and think, oh bloody hell. But on the same time, he'll think that was a really good result. So fair play to Bob McIntyre. Just before we come on to a good talking point when it comes to the players and it comes to the golf tournament in general, here we go, because I want to get your thoughts on this guy, because you don't like these sorts of things. I do, because I go, what's gone on here? And then you look into it and you go, what in the hell? Like, where have you come from? Where have you come from? And why are you holding everything? Like, I just what I love about golf. Why are you holding everything? And there's fist pumps going in, and and then you hear about him after the round, and you're like, oh my god, what is going on here? Sturaban Yelamaraju, um, tied fifth, Canadian via India. Never had a golf lesson in his life. Lefty. Um, his dad didn't know what golf was until they just decided to do it on a random weekend, and then he ended up just doing it the rest of his life. Didn't go to college, which is like it's like it's like a cardinal sin if you're
it's
over that
like
side of the Atlantic
it's
and you've
like
not and you
in sorry, it's like in English football not going to a football academy. It's like Jamie Vardy, that sort of thing. Didn't go
yeah
through an
yeah it's
academy, just
literally
found
Jamie
out of
Vardy,
nowhere. But worse than
literally
not going
Jamie
to
Vardy.
academy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like unbelievable, and he gets on an unholy heater. Just not in maybe not on Sunday particularly, but he did get on a heater on Sunday. But like just for the week, tied fifth. Bogies the 18th, which a lot of people did, but bogies the 18th as well. Could have been better than fifth. Shuraban Yelamaraju. What legend? What a legend. And Ben, you got any thoughts on Shuraban Yelamaraju? I mean, hold on tight for these thoughts.
Yeah, Yella Miraju. Yeah, I enjoyed his performance, and I've got a thing for these maybe Asian sort of, not necessarily like the most Eastern Asian, like your Indian boys. Obviously the Thigala's got some heritage there. I'm not sure about Bataya, but I do really like Thigala and Yalamaraju. Looks a bit strange, lefty, but to be fair, like his upbringing, teaching himself to play golf, just playing with his dad, is unbelievable. And we know both our relationships with our dad and golf aren't the best. So how we can do that is unbelievable. I lose my absolute shit when I play with my dad. Every single time, and I know you do when he caddied for you. So fair play to him. I was actually quite very impressed. Jamie made a, but because he could have posted 10 under. Jamie made that bogey because he managed to scuff his second. And then again on 18, like every single hole in that back nine, they just kept like racing it through onto the back edge and then not making the putt because it was straight downwind. So yeah, it was but fair play to him. What a player. And he kind of sort of explained after that he's up north in Canada where it was, and like in the winter you can't play golf, it's too cold. It's like what it is here, and I just thought that is amazing how good you are. And the heat he got on Saturday, he made like 5 birdies in a row on Saturday. He went 4 under the front nine yesterday. Like, oh my god! Imagine the money he's just made. He's been on the Corn Ferry
Well,
Tour,
yeah.
so incredible, really incredible. So well done to Shudaroshan.
Yes. Absolutely. We'll get better at pronouncing your name,
Sorry.
my man Yalamaraju, because we hope to see you up there again soon. Yeah, on the money front, he's made 4 times as much as his highest paycheck in a week this week.
Wow.
So his career paycheck. So fair play to him. I think it was nine hundred and
Wow.
twenty-five thousand dollars that he picked up for his
Oh,
efforts this weekend. So fair play to you, my man. Take that back to Canada. Hopefully it's defrosting in Canada at the moment, in Winnipeg, Canada, which is
oh
where he's
yeah.
based. Hopefully it's defrosting there for you. And it's just a reminder to all of us when we moan about it being too cold, me in particular, not to hit range balls after I've finished coaching just because it's too cold. Get the hand warmers on, get in the back room in my swing room and just get some swings done, hit some putts
Yeah.
because this guy's doing that and he's playing at an unbelievably high standard. So fair play to Yella Miraju. Right then, coming on to our hot topic. I mean, Jesus, I could not believe my eyes. I was actually mid-text on one of these. On one of these, I was texting you, which we don't usually talk, so we come on fresh about
Yeah.
to speak about what we need to speak about when it comes to the podcast. But I was mid-text, I think, for the second of this man's water incidents for the day, of which cost him the win. I mean, this guy's on cruise control, or at least he looks it, um, until he's not. Ludvig Aberg, 3-shot lead into Sunday, ends up 4 off the pace. Um, just one of those where the first thing I've got to say, and I've said this ever since he sort of looked like he had a chance at the Masters a few years ago. Temperament, 10 out of 10. Like, I try and show that to anybody that I'm working with, who struggles a little bit with golf psychology. You just need to watch this guy because you wouldn't be able to tell if he's thrown a tournament away, the biggest tournament win, what would have been of his career, away, because he just hits every shot and gives the same facial expressions near as much. He almost chipped in on 13, but barring that, he does the same facial expressions and same mannerisms
Mm.
every single shot. So he's absolutely 10 out of 10 and flawless on that regard. But could that also be his downfall a bit? I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Maybe you're going to put that in there. Ludvig Aberg, it's difficult because he hasn't actually been in the best form so far this year. He had a good week last week at Bay Hill, and he's just probably carried that bit of doubt into the weekend and not got it done after a remarkable Friday round 63. Ben, what is your overall thoughts on Ludvig Aberg? Because I know you're harsh on these European guys, and he hasn't helped our case there when it comes to winning these fucking tournaments.
The Europeans have been all season trying to win these tournaments, and they sleepwalk into their final round, and they just can't seem to get it done. I compared it to the other sporting event on yesterday prior. to him starting his final round at the Players was my team, Spurs, Liverpool, and Liverpool were in absolute control. They won it up. They're playing a terrible team that's not relevant to the golf in Tottenham, and they just sleptwalked and they went stale. And you suddenly was like, and you thought, Liverpool going to win this game. Of course they are. Everyone's winning. Of course they're going to win. They're going to get a second goal. They are in control. They're creating chances. And then suddenly you're like, hmm, hmm, hmm. And then Spurs start getting more chances. And then suddenly, boom, Richarlison scores. The game twisted. Spurs then had another chance to go and win the game. And it felt like that again with Aberg. It was almost like, I just sort of felt like it. He won't win this. This is coming. You've got to make birdies on your final round. I get he's in control. But as we've seen all season, this is probably the fifth or sixth time now someone with more than a two-shot lead has taken it into Sunday and they haven't won. And he didn't even get in the top. He didn't get top five. Um, I think some players when it starts going wrong, the fuel burns inside them, the fire burns inside them, and they get up for it, and they get up for the last six holes that he needed to play, and he needed to make a birdie, and he didn't. You know what? I'll give it to McIlroy at the Masters last year. He did that when he made those mistakes. It burnt inside him, and you don't want to go and force the issue then, but Aberg needed to do something differently. And to be fair, you make the mistake on 11, fine. But to go and then hit it on the easiest hole on the course, it was meant to be on 12. It was 373, and to make a double there's bad. And then really didn't do anything coming in. He'll be gutted, and I think he'll have a think about maybe his demeanour. And it's hard because you're right, he is so perfect, but this isn't the first time he's done this. So
No,
I don't know what your thoughts are, but
he's
yeah,
now
overall disappointing for him.
yeah. Yeah, well, he's now got a 20% win rate when leading into a 25% win
Mm,
rate technically when leading into the final round. Um, and and it's just a weird dynamic where these European guys, like we've said it for so long about Fleetwood, and he ended up proving us wrong. It took about 5 years too
yeah.
long, but he ended up proving us wrong. And it's always the case with McIlroy before he won the Masters. Oh, he's got to sort of come from behind and post a score. Like there just doesn't seem to be much in the way of like until it's the Ryder Cup and we show absolutely ounces of it. There never really seems to be that sternness, that foot on the floor. Don't get me wrong, for the neutral, if Aberg had
Yeah.
gone out and shot 4 under and there was no real jeopardy in the golf tournament, we probably would have been coming on here on Tuesday morning going, oh
Yeah.
bloody hell, how boring was that? Aberg just cruised to a victory. So we made it interesting, but obviously as an Aberg fan and a lover of his golf swing as well, I was like, well, go on, just state your claim, go and win the golf tournament, put yourself in the elite, like you're sort of borderline of, and he just didn't go and do it,
My yeah.
which was remarkable. Um, and yeah, like you said, it was exactly like that Liverpool Spurs game where I only turned it on as that game started to go that way, and you were just like, well, this is rubbish from the team that I thought was all right, and you're not overall surprised at the end result because of it. Like we've analysed the good, so now let's analyse the bad. Obviously, Aberg. One thing I absolutely love about his golf swing as someone who prefers to fade the ball myself. I said about how much I love the draw, but prefers to fade the ball myself. What I love about his golf swing is he really keeps his club face nice and closed in the takeaway, and that basically motivates him to release his body really, really hard on the way through and commit to the golf shot. Well, he's obviously hit this spinny high right seven wood on the 11th, and so something's gone wrong there. He's caught it a bit
Mm.
bottom groove back into the wind, and he's absolutely missed it miles right. And then he admitted himself he pushed the envelope on the 12th. He doesn't usually hit driver on 12. He hit it there, and just that little bit, when you take too much club on a hole and you have 1 second of doubt, you are on the way to disaster. You have to be committed to a target when you are taking too much club into a narrow space, because what's 100% happened there is he's taken the club back, not really committed, and that sort of that
Mm.
closed club face allowing him to throw his body through the golf ball, really turn and release. He's a split second too late on that, and obviously path going left, face going left, and you end up with that sort of pull draw which he hit into the water on 12. Been there many a time. Been there many a time hitting driver where I shouldn't be and not committing to it and not getting a very similar result. So difficult. And I also think the psychology, there's so much that goes into it. Like when you're trying to win a golf tournament, you would rather like, and I'm lucky enough to be able to say that I've managed to get somehow some tournaments over the line in my time, and I'd rather be battling it out than holding on. Like,
Mm,
I would rather do that where I know what's going on. But I also think, from my experience, because the one time I've tried to hold on to a tournament, oh my God, like, I've told the story a million times, but I've looked at the leaderboard and I was 5 shots clear with about, I think it was 5 to play, and I've immediately made a bogey, and I can't tell you how much I was hacking myself. Like, the one look at the
mm,
leaderboard where you know you're that much clear, you all of a sudden your mindset switches to negative, and you've got to have a really, really stern mindset to keep your foot to the floor without fear of consequence, if that makes sense. But then we'll come on to his playing partner just now, because Michael Thorbjornsen, another one of my guys, my ones to watch. I'm sat there going into Sunday. I'm like, oh my goodness, Aberg's going to win, and if he doesn't, one of my ones to watch is going to win. And obviously, Young's ended up winning, so it wasn't all bad. But I'm thinking, Thorbjornsen, I said he's going to win at the start of the year. Well, based
mm.
off the evidence that I've seen, I mean, he does everything right in Phoenix, then with 3 holes to go, decides to just decelerate, which, again, he's not deliberately trying to, but it's just
No.
these lessons that you think you learn from Phoenix going into this week. And I know it's Phoenix and the players, it's 2 different tournaments, but he just decides to make a quad on the fourth, and then all it's like anything. His temperament's amazing as well. Like, again, would show it to anybody. Absolutely fantastic. Though those two were absolute role models, but you kind of pathologically passing on deflation to your playing partner. Again, growing up, and you probably attest to this as well, when you play a club round of golf, like, let's just say you play with JK. Like, I always remember going up last year and you and JK played that round first thing in the morning. Like,
Mm,
when I go to a golf tournament, first of all, if I don't know who I'm playing with and they might be unbelievable, like, that's going to make me raise my game, because I'm going to be that nervous. I'm not going to be there making stupid mistakes like I would be if I was playing with maybe my mates or someone like that. But growing up, I always used to think I used to love it when I was playing my mates first and foremost. But then if my mates were playing well and then it turned into sort of this back and forth little competition where
mm.
we're all sort of rolling, that would bring the best out of me. But as soon as, like, one of my mates or one playing partner sort of goes and absolutely starts chopping it, um, it disrupts your pace of play usually, so you can't get into a rhythm. And then two, psychologically, there's just people moaning on the course, and you're not really in a upbeat vibe. So pathologically, I think Aberg probably suffered from a bit of that. But yeah, what do you think going into those golf like, into a round? Like, do you suffer from that if someone's chopping it round, you can't really get it going?
I don't know. Yeah, probably. I think definitely. I mean, I've played with plenty of choppers. One specific chopper, a lot. A lot of rounds of golf I played with this fucking chopper, and he does like fuck me off. But yeah, yeah, I'm probably like you. I've probably been in a position where I've been the better golfer playing with this chopper, so it is difficult. And so when I do play with, yeah, you're right, with my dad or this chopper's dad or a couple of you or whatever, you do subconsciously up your game and you try and replicate, and I don't know if it always helps, but yeah, I think Aberg did suffer a bit with that. I also think, and another point I wanted to make for both Thorbjornsen and Aberg, there's this word going around the world of sport, and it's probably been mentioned in the golf world, and I don't want to. It won't be used in the American terms like the bottle job or that sort of sense of throwing it away. But that is going around the PGA Tour right now because it has happened every single week. And even subconsciously, Aberg will know about that. And I just think he would have been thinking, don't go stale on Sunday, don't go stale on Sunday. And I just think he would have. And he can horrify me as much as he wants and tell me he doesn't care and tell me all these sorts of things and breeze his way around. He would have been thinking about like going into it and praying that he didn't do what he did. Thorbjornsen just cacked it on the fourth and made a terrible hole and didn't do that. At least Thorbjornsen made like 3 or 4 birdies in the end. At least he had a go. Aberg made 1 birdie in like 34 holes or something ridiculous. So he really did
Yeah.
lose the heat. And again, it was easy for him to make some pars because no one made a move. But when you get to a back nine on Sunday at a big tournament, at the fifth biggest tournament in the world, guys make moves, and the American boys always make moves. And an American end up going to beat him, which again is my point. When he goes, not even the back nine on a Sunday, when he gets to the back 3 holes on a Sunday, I'm seeing these Americans win over the Europeans too many times. I'm seeing them
Yeah.
convert. It is conversion rates. The Americans are very good at it, and they did it, and they nearly did to us on the Ryder Cup on the big day last year. So they know how to convert, and the Europeans worry me a bit like that.
Yeah, Yeah, and that's those are completely valid points. We'll come on to this in just a moment, but it comes back to my saying, golf tournaments, they are hard to win. They're
Yeah.
ridiculously hard to win. And if you win them, it should never be overlooked. If someone wins by 7 or 8 strokes, we can come back to the conversation that we've had today and talk about how hard it is to maintain a level when you're out in front, etc., etc. These things are fucking hard to win. So
Mm.
fair play to Cam Young for winning this week. Just touching on a couple of other bits, just in case you want to go others. As I said, Brooks was destined for a top 10, heading in the right direction, and then decides to throw a double in there on 18, which by no means is. To be fair, I overlooked 18. 18 should have been right in my contention for in our
Yeah.
builder
Yeah.
9-hole golf course, because that is an absolutely fantastic golf hole. Even playing downwind, I actually think elements of it playing downwind made it harder because the bailout was just completely in play. It didn't really matter what you hit. I'm surprised nobody really hit 4 irons, 250, 260, 270 down the right hand side. Everyone still wanted to pull driver. Maybe that's just me. You wanted to come in with a bit of loft into 18 there, but double on 18, and Brooks ended up tied 13. But positives to take from you, guy?
Yeah. So my sort of player, almost like I'm his agent or his like coach. I thought he played well. I was looking at him all week, and he sort of built into the week. He doesn't like the players. He doesn't like Sawgrass. He hates 17th. He actually hit an amazing shot on 17 and nearly converted after making a birdie on 16. So he got there and he got to 9 under, and or did he get to 8 under? He got to 8 under, and you think, can he make a birdie on 17, 17, 18 to get to even down to 10 under, which he gave himself a chance on 17, didn't convert. And then again, as you just mentioned, this is my big thing the whole day watching these guys hit driver down 18 and just going right into the trees, even though they're not that thick. And guys were trying to hit like the low cuts out of the pine straws, and Straka got done when he twatted that bird. I don't know if you're going to bring that up. And that's all I was seeing. These guys are like gripping down on their wedges and just trying to freaking like just cut across some clubs. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like these guys can hit like 7 irons, like 210, 220. Just hit a 5 iron. Like again, when I look back at Tiger one there, like 2013, and a couple of videos of Tiger, he always hit like a stinger down there, and it was straight downwind. Like we understand from the golf we play weekly what wind does to the ball, and it just fucking knuckles them. And again, you're hitting driver, and you don't get the spin, you don't get the height, and it knuckles through. And even their second shots, like pitching them like pin eye. I just thought, I get it's the hardest
Yeah.
thing ever, and I can never do it. But I just thought, again, Fitzpatrick hit an iron on 18, you don't lose that tournament. He makes a four if he hits an iron. He costs himself by in driver down on 18. But sorry, back to Brooks. Shame for him on 18, but he did absolutely wank it right on 18. He was 50 yards off the fairway. He didn't even get back onto the fairway on his layup. He had to hit out the pine straws with his third. So shame for Brooks. He doesn't need the money, so he won't be disappointed. But again, good signs for Koepka.
He's going to come into my contention for potential picks this week, and I'd be surprised if you don't pick him this week, because I actually think there's genuine reason to pick him going
Oh,
into this
really?
week. Yeah, I think so. I think he's got a chance. I'd like to see it as well. I'm a big.
Mm,
At times I've thought Kapka is a bit of a tosser, but I am a big Kapka guy. Get my words out
yeah.
deep down, so it'd be interesting. Quick touch on our favourite tour. Live Golf. Live Golf was in, I think, Singapore this week. Which is
Yeah.
Singapore in Bahrain?
No,
No, it's
Singapore's
not,
a
is it?
country on it. Singapore's yeah. No, I don't think anywhere near Bahrain. I think it's a country on its own. Singapore, isn't it? At the tip of
I'm not going to swear. I
is it
thought,
is it near? I don't think it's near Bahrain. Is it Bahrain in the Middle East?
yeah, I think Bahrain is the middle. I could have swore it's Bahrain that I thought it was. I thought it was Live Golf Bahrain this week. Just shows how much we care. Um,
No,
I think it was
it's a
Singapore because when I googled it,
yeah. Singapore's like Southeast Asia, tip of Indonesia. Am I wrong? And let me just have a look. Um,
yeah, I mean, let's do some geography. Make podcast, guys. Where was Live Golf? Live Golf.
Singapore, tip of Malaysia, nearly. Um,
Yeah,
sort of Indonesia, like real small country, quite a cool place. Lot of flights from Australia stop there halfway around, that sort of thing.
yeah, yeah. Well, this is good from Google because it's still not telling me where the Live Golf was this week. Yeah, keep listening, guys, because we'll be able to tell you which
Live
country
golf
Live Golf was
leaderboard.
in. I mean, you guys will probably know before me. Look at this leaderboard. Where were we? Can someone show me where we
It's
were?
definitely
Here.
Singapore. I'm looking at the same leaderboard. It's definitely Singapore,
It,
but I
was
but
it
you it
Singapore?
says Mine says Singapore. Don't worry. They were in Hong Kong
Was it?
last
Right,
week. It's
Singapore.
Singapore. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go. Unbelievable. Well done. Well done. So we got there in the end. Live Golf Singapore. I mean, there wasn't anything to watch until the last shot or the
Mm.
penultimate shot of the golf tour. You see it?
Yeah, I did, and yeah, I didn't see it. I've watched it, and I just had a look at what happened, and yeah, um, yeah, fair play. I do like DeChambeau, so I was pleased to see him win. Lee Westwood shooting 12 under, by the way. That was a bit mad.
Yeah, that is
Came third.
a bit mad to be fair, isn't it? Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I shat myself then because I thought you meant in one round, and I was like, oh my god, that he's going to be my heat of the week then.
No,
But you meant in total.
no, he
Um,
had a solid
um,
week.
no, so no, good week from Lee Westwood. Fair play, still alive and kicking. So fair play to Lee. Speaking of Lee, Richard T. Lee, disappointing. I mean, it comes back to what we said. Winning golf tournaments is hard. I've never seen, and these guys never fail to do something weird on live. Obviously, Richard T. Lee, I'd be lying if I said I'd ever heard of him. He's obviously had the week of his life there. Fair play to him for even being on the live roster. But if Richard T. Lee's on the live roster, respect to Richard T. Lee and everything that he's done in the game. But it tells you everything you need to know about that tour, doesn't it? And he gets there and he puts in the most short to long stroke I've ever seen in my life,
Mm.
along with hitting the ball extremely too hard. Like if someone says, "Hey Siri, show me a nervous putt," it would look something like that. Not in the middle of the hole. I saw a great post the other day about saying about the percentage of slope you need to aim outside the hole from 3 foot, and
Yeah,
basically it came out to something like 80 or 90% of your 3 footers you don't need to wait. You'll
really.
always be aiming inside the width of the hole. Yeah, and assuming you hit it 1 foot past, which obviously is an acceptable speed, optimizing the whole width. So yeah, no, interesting, and Richard Teeley probably hit it on the left lip, on pace to hit it about 6 foot past from 2.5, from 1 foot or 2 foot. Yeah, I'm not going to take the piss out of Richard Teeley because obviously
No.
it's a difficult moment and he probably is unfortunate, and he's probably taken home a huge check. So it's just unfortunate he's on the wrong side of that. I did see Bryson falling in the bunker early on in the week, which was pretty random. Um, yeah, I don't know if you
but,
saw that, but it was quite
but
quite quite amusing.
just to mention Bryson, like he spends so much time like in the rough or the bunker. Like last year, where were they last year? Sorry, Port Rush. Was it Port Rush where he shot like 12 over the first
Yeah,
round, and he was literally like on the side of those dunes, like hacking it out and playing shots. I'm just like, what the fuck is
yeah,
going on here? He did it at Oakmont as well, but then DeChambeau shot the lowest round of the week, didn't he, at Port Rush? And again, I looked at his
yeah.
scores this week. He shot what, like he went 5 under, he went 4 under, 6 under, and then started to shoot 1 over in round three. Like it's just the most DeChambeau thing ever. Then to come back and just claw it back to 5 under the final round and then win. Um, he is a great player, and I'm looking forward to seeing him at the majors. Just on Richard T. Lee, yeah, unlucky.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's fair. It's fair.
Mm.
Unlucky. I think that's a completely fair summary. All right, well done, Live Golf. It'll be interesting to see where they go next. I think South Africa they're going next because I
South
heard John Rahm
Africa.
talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, no one's stuff gets stolen because I mean, I tell you what, them criminals out in South Africa will be licking their lips seeing the Live guys roll in with the amount of money they've got. With
Mm.
the amount of money that
Yeah,
they've
like the
got. So
Lions
no
and
one
shit.
take yeah, but not the Lions. Like, lad, it's brutal. South Africa, the crime out there
Yeah,
is mental. Like, I got sent a reel today, basically saying about how cheap it is to go and play there. And my
mm.
first thought was, yeah, but I don't know if I'm even going to get there because the crime's that bad. And then
Yeah.
I looked at the comments and they all sort of said the same thing. I actually reckon, and that might go up on the list in terms of places that I'll probably never visit because I'm that shit scared of it.
Oh, really? It's interesting because I mean, South Africa obviously has always been a place of the absolute poor and then the absolute rich, and that's obviously what their culture's built on.
Mm.
But yeah, so many people I know now have gone on safari. Like my, I don't- they wouldn't mind saying that. Like my uncle and auntie, Uncle Russell and Kate, they're going on like a 3 week safari to South Africa, and they're doing the whole of South Africa. And I say, yeah, fucking dangerous place. And then they're only going up north to go into like the savannah. to have a look at the fucking creatures. And I saw someone else go to South Africa, so I thought it can't be that bad. But yeah, you're right. Most of that country is an absolute mess, and yeah, dangerous place to go. But a lot of golf tournaments happen there, don't they? So
Yeah,
I think it's an absolute interesting
yeah.
place of contrast. So I actually would like to go there one day. But you're right, it is a shit scary.
I always remember Michael Bisping, the UFC fighter, telling a story about him getting kidnapped, and the
Mm.
only reason he didn't get like shot was because like basically the gang that kidnapped him like needed to go to a separate other like mission like when they had him, so they were like, oh,
Oh,
like this guy, like we
really?
don't really need to do him. Yeah, yeah. They held him at gunpoint and
Wow.
everything, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So I remember thinking, fuck that for a laugh. I'm not going over there.
No.
Um, no, it'd be interesting to see what the Live guys do. Hopefully, no
Mm.
drama over in Live. Okay, then. That is our review of the Players Championship and our very. I mean, to be fair, we took longer than expected. We probably did 5 minutes on Live there.
Mm.
3 of it was in South Africa and nothing to do with golf, but 5 minutes on Live. So fair play to them for getting 5 minutes out of us. Now it's time for our prestigious couple of awards. And first, as always, it's our beloved Heater of the Week. I'm so keen for this. Heater of the week. Heater of the week. Heater of the week. Heater of the week. Around 260.
He's kind of on a heater.
A 9 under par Sunday round 63.
One of my greatest heaters.
4 birdies in a row, 12 through 15, and then another one on 17 to seal the deal. He's bogey free, 63. In terms of the heat of the heater, 62, 10 under par. You are my heater of the week for this week. Okay, then we're back for another heater of the week. I haven't counted up how many we've done now, but I have a feeling we're going to get close to 10. I feel like we're on 9 or 10 heaters of the week now. Thank you to all of you who are keeping on listening to this point in the podcast. We're quite deep into the podcast now, so if you are still with us, we appreciate you massively. Heater of the week this week. I usually do some honourable mentions. I was wanting to scan over Live, having a look at the scoring. Scoring is quite tough on Live. Very similar scoring between the two tours. And this is dangerous. This is a dangerous game for all the reasons that we just spoke about 20 minutes prior. But I'm left with no other choice, because there's no other choice other than to give my heater of the week to Ludvig Aberg. And pretty self-explanatory. He was 9 under par. He was 7 under par through his front 9 on Friday, which is absolutely ridiculous levels of heater. Pete Dye was probably looking down at him going, Jesus Christ, like someone do something out there, because this is ridiculous. You can't be going 7 under on my front 9 like this. 2 eagles added in there as well. 6 birdies in total and 1 bogey for a 63. Fantastic round of golf. If it didn't have that bogey in, oh my goodness, would have been salivating, would have been doing very strange things to myself. No, I wouldn't have been doing that.
No.
But if I'd have opened my phone and seen if I'd opened my phone and seen a 62 from Ludvig Aberg dressed in those beautiful Adidas colours on Friday, but it was still good enough to win the heater of the week, and he's probably my favourite winner of the award personality-wise that we've dished them out to so far. Haven't had many massive names that we've given heater of the week to. I think we gave it to Jay Rose the one week, but Ludvig Aberg probably my personal favourite winner. So well done, congratulations Ludvig, and as a consolation to the way that things happened and panned out this weekend, we'll obviously send you your heater of the week in the post. Just send us your email address, Ludvig. We'll get that sent over to you. Okay, Ben's favourite moment of the week, flop of the week. Benjamin Arsenal, take it away.
Flop of the week. Week commencing the 16th of March 2026. After the Players, controversial. Is it the 5th major? Absolutely not. It's a pile of shit most of the time, the Players, except for this week. So flop, who's played really badly over the week of golf? I mean, I've only looked at the 2 tours, the Live and obviously the PGA. So honourable mentions, I haven't decided yet, so I normally talk through it, then just decide in the very final second. So some high scoring at Live, which some funny high scoring, which I always like to look at. Minkyu Kim, Korean Golf Club. I don't know what that is. Is that a fucking Live team? Anyway, 25 over for the 4 rounds, 9 over, 7 over, 4 over, 5 over. Got better as the week got on, so fair play to him. Sam Horsfield, I've heard of Sam Horsfield, Sheepfield. Majestics, 20 over, 10 over in there, 7 over, 4 over, and then a -1 to finish off the week. You'd be glad to know Nick Dunlap has been so shit he didn't even play at the Players, so he's sort of exempt from this award this week. Terrible scoring. You know what? There wasn't any big names playing really badly, and I don't want to give it to the smaller names. Davis Riley shot 19 over at Sawgrass. Emiliano Grillo, he struggled this year. He's been down there a lot. Another 17 over. Who was the next big player to play that badly? Literally no one. I mean, Finau 8 over. So you know what? All the good players played well, which made it a great players. Shane Lowry shot 5 over, which said his week. Obviously, I'm gonna look at as we just spoke about on Live. Sorry, I'm taking ages. I'm gonna look at Richard T. Lee, who really did sort of miss from 2 feet to carry on the playoff against DeChambeau. That has to be a saying. But you know what? I don't mind doing this. Thought Bjornsson was terrible on the final day. But you know what? For those 2 holes on his back nine, for his 2 holes on his back nine, this is going to be a first time for absolutely. This will be a first time. This will never happen again. That the player who's going to win the heater of the week is also going to win the flop of the week, which sort of sums up Aberg as a player, I believe. So Ludvig Aberg for his 11th, 12th, and 14th hole, where he dropped 4 shots. Again, like he emits aura, he emits coolness, but he doesn't really show it when it comes to back to Sunday. I don't believe so. And you know what? He's put himself back down in my list for a major when he always goes well at the Masters, but then he always seems to fall away. So he needs to do some sort of thinking going into major season. But yeah, his second time winning flop of the week. Bear in mind he won it he played so badly 3 or 4 weeks ago when he was injured. So yeah, not a good start of season for Aberg. He is my flop of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, that I can only think of that was gonna happen, like from Bootlegger, because that was gonna happen. That was begging to happen. I had no choice but to give him heater of the week, and this is the
Yeah,
disappointing thing. Like you said, that's never gonna happen again. Sometimes the heater can that's part of the
yeah,
pressure, isn't it? Sometimes the
mm,
heater can set you up to be the flop, like to be if you get on that cooler or the freezer like he did.
yeah.
He just got sat right up and just got chinned to be the flop, and he obviously did it to himself.
Mm.
Ludwig, he's now leader, by the way, because he's now won 2 flop of the weeks
2
according to
flops.
you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Flip
two
flop.
flop,
He's on flip flop.
2 flop, yeah,
He's on a.
2 flops and 1 heater from Ludwig Aberg. He's entertaining.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
Um, but he's going to look to probably aim to being more heater of the weeks than flop of the weeks. We're not even in April. We haven't even got to the Masters yet, and Ludwig's 2 flops and 1 heater. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he finishes in the 2026 end of year rankings when it comes to our
Yeah.
podcast reviews. Okay then. Great review, in-depth review of the players and a sprinkling of Live as well. As always, we do the preview, we do the review of the week prior, and then we go to the preview. This is the disappointing thing. Obviously, this is why I love Harbour Town as well. Without here I am mentioning Harbour Town, but I just love the fact that it's the week after the Masters. So you've had that brilliant week at the Masters, and then you've still got a good golf tournament coming after. That's not usually the case. So it's not quite the case. It's better than it could be. It could have been, but we haven't obviously got the elite level of tournament that we had this week. We've got the Valspar this week at Innisbrook, Palm Beach, Florida. Yeah, not the worst tournament in the world. Currently held by Victor Hovland, bit of a fan favourite. We both like Victor Hovland,
Yeah.
so he'll be there teeing it up this week. There's some decent names in the field, not world beaters, not the elite of the elite, with it not being a signature event. There's some decent names, and it plays quite tough. Does Innisbrook? It's the winning score the last 3 years hasn't been higher than 12 under par. So with
Mm.
it being as windy as it was in Ponte Vedra this weekend, it'll be interesting to see if it's still windy this weekend in Palm Beach. Ben, you got any thoughts heading into the Valspar?
Um, not massively. I've quite enjoyed learning about these different courses and different tournaments. I did know about the Valspar Championship, and I knew Hovland won last year because I remember last year him starting so badly and then randomly coming out with a win. and then playing really
Yeah,
badly for the rest of the season. So yeah, I was just trying to look at the field because I want to see if my pick was actually playing, which I don't think he is. So I'm going to rethink that. But yeah, looking forward to it. Oh, he is playing. That's all right then. Um, Looking forward to it. Innsbruck's always a
yeah,
cool golf course. I always think it sounds cool, and yeah, if the scoring's been difficult, yeah, it might be a good week.
yeah. Should be a good week. Like all we asked for, and when the scoring's usually quite low, it brings players into play. So all we ask
Mm,
for is obviously we're busy Thursday and Friday usually. Saturday if we're out socialising, we might be playing a
mm,
bit of golf again this Saturday with a bit of luck, or maybe getting something going in that
mm-hmm.
sense. When we turn the TV on Sunday, if we get a chance to, we want to see those players in the mix. When we've caught up with the storyline of how the weekend's gone, we want to know who's in form, who's dipping out of form, and we want to see loads of players in with a chance. And a low mark, a tough golf course usually brings that into play. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see if it happens. Predictions. I am the hot hand predictions wise. So have you got a prediction, or do you want me to go first?
No, I'll go first just because I'll just get out of the way. You can go through mentions. I'm going to go for someone who's played well, who nearly sort of upset the apple cart yesterday. He's got better. He's a two-time major champion. He got two top tens the last 3 years. I don't know if you're going to pick him, but I'm going to go Schauffele.
Yeah, I think it's a solid pick. I think it's a solid pick, and he's had a good record in this tournament. Obviously, he's a good
Yeah.
player, so he's likely to have a good record. But you see him up there in previous years of this tournament, and
Mm,
I quite like that as a pick. And do you know what? As a reaction to me going 1-0 up in the predictions leaderboard, I think that's a good solid pick because I
mm,
think you're going to turn on the TV over the weekend and see that he's up there. He's obviously playing good golf and he's an elite player. He was
yeah.
in my contentions. He's not actually in my honourable mentions because I was trying to give the honourable mentions to people that you might not think about. I'm not going to rock up and go, oh, Hovland, fucking Schauffele. So we're going to give him some different names. One
Yeah.
name you probably disagree with, but I mean, just in case we forgot him, Jacob Bridgman.
Mm,
He's got a chance because he's obviously playing the golf of his life, and he actually finished third in this event last year. So he's on a heater just in general, Jacob Bridgman, and he likes this golf course. So watch out for him to probably make another run. I can't guarantee he'll win. I don't see him winning twice in 3 or 4 weeks, but he'll definitely give it a shot from my bet. And my other one's Brooks Koepka. I know he's a bit of a, sometimes we can forget about him, I suppose. I know you never will, and even in
no.
your sleep you don't. Um, but, but yeah, I just put he's trending upwards, and he was actually tied 12th for last time he played here 4 years ago. So if he plays anything like he did last week, he's got a new putting coach. He plays the Spider now, which is interesting to sort of see. So hopefully that new putter coach and new putter bounce, as our friend Barrett likes to call it, which is good, and
Mm-hmm.
JK likes to call it, which is cracking me up.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that can continue for you guys. Brooks Koepka. I was very close to picking Koepka,
That's
very close
mad.
to picking him, but then I
And
thought, yeah, I can't believe. Go on.
that'd be typical you to pick Kepka than him to go and win. That'd piss me off a lot.
I should have done that. I
Yeah.
should have I should have done that because if I look at right now down the stretch, who's most likely to win a golf tournament out of Brooks Koepka and the person that I've picked? I'd probably pick Brooks Koepka. It's just can he put himself in position to go and win the tournament that I'm slightly
Mm,
concerned about. We will
yeah.
soon see. I'm picking a guy who's got a really solid record in this golf tournament the last 4 years that he's been here, and he's actually just after being awful 2 weeks ago, which is why it's a nervy pick.
Mm-hmm.
He played really well, or a lot better than we probably expected him to just the week gone. He's not too far from his house. He obviously lives in Florida. He lives next to Tiger Woods, spends a lot of time with Tiger Woods. So scratching away the clues, you will be able to figure out that I have picked Justin Thomas for this week. As I said, he was eighth last weekend. And he was actually second here last year as
Mm.
well. He's been in the top 20 of the last 5 years at the Valspar. So I can imagine that he's going to give it a good run this weekend. There we go. There are our
Mm.
predictions. A quick little preview for the Valspar. We are just over an hour into this podcast, and that is where we're going to think about drawing it to a conclusion. So thank you very much to all of you who have listened and are listening to us and watching us even. Um, Hope you enjoyed that. Like we always try and do, we love doing these reviews. I know we're just talking about the stuff that you may have just watched on Sunday, but again, sometimes it's nice to sort of refresh and go, oh my goodness, yes, that was a good moment, or oh, that was a terrible moment. Ben likes to highlight those as much as I do, And these are things that what we want to aim to do on this podcast is get you after the golf tournament, and what are the little nuggets that you can learn psychologically, technically. What are the funny moments that happened? As I said, underrated funny moment for me was Straka absolutely nutting that bird on the side and almost staying in play. That was one of the funniest moments of the tournament for me. So yeah, we want to review all these things and make it a nice, enjoyable experience for you guys. Benjamin Hartshorn, thanks very much for coming on. Unfortunately, we've got to point this out actually before next week. Benjamin's on holiday next week, so we're not going to have a Benjamin Hartshorn Valspar review. Ben, first of all, where are you on holiday to, and are you going to get a chance to watch the Valspar?
Well, I might get a chance to watch the Valspar because we're not going till Monday morning. We're going to Athens only for 3 or 4 days for a little sort of a little search, a little trip to Athens, go to the trop is it a Tropocopolis, and go and have a look at some Greek gods. We know one Greek god already, so I'm going to go
Yeah.
back and just see what if there's anyone that matches his sort of dominance back in his home city, his home country, and I'll report back to him and report back to everyone else. So yeah, no, I will be away next week, but hopefully the Valspar will be a fantastic watch on Sunday.
Yes, it will do, and we'll look forward to having Ben back, not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, fortnight's time, to review the tournament. I don't think it's the Valero Texas Open. I think there's one in between before we go to Texas, but I might be wrong. I feel like it might be the Truist Children's, something like that. But we'll be able to review with Benjamin in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you to everybody who's listened, watched, as I just said. We will wrap the podcast up there pretty swiftly, and we will look forward to hopefully having as many of you as possible for our Thursday podcast, where me and Ben will be both back chatting golf, all things golf, and goal setting. Then we will catch you later on in the week. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.